Your member Yalbu Pangia.
Thank you through Mr. Speaker. Thank you for giving me time law, making my contribution to this debate law, this budget. Now, Mr. Speaker, some legally complaint as well. Somehow we seem to be changing parliamentary traditions all the time. Last year we presented the budget. Last budget we presented was on a Thursday. This year we presented on a Friday. Some time or tradition bla house and Muslim yumi okatasawe, especially those of us who have been here for quite a while. These traditions are kept for many reasons. That is to try and allow proper debates and proper analysis of the budgets to take place, not only by leaders but also by public. So please, you may try law, maintain some level of this tradition, you may give him respect law, walk, you may walk him. But today, Mr. Speaker, I like to talk law. There's la tribe la economic ul, there's la treasury work lo to talk len. Ul blo treasury, yeah. So, you like
Honorable, sorry, Honorable Chair, by interrupt legally. Honorable member of Yalibu Pangia. This is a statement now you talking whole blood treasury and by all you can interpret him to planning context long and so you strategically have talk.
Thank you. No, me to talk like economic will to talk land. So, Mr. Speaker, display me number 6 budget blow display government. Number 6 budget. Now, after 5 years, one would expect that government is well and truly settled in and managing the economic affairs of the country. Now, of course, trying to meet him, there's the challenges, economy one time, country, given law, government law, managing. But consistently, Mr. Speaker, Treasurer one time, Prime Minister, continuously blaming previous governments, especially my government, blaming Ukraine war, blaming COVID. Me look at this law reference, law come up then law this law budget book, yeah. But there's like kind of excuse must stop, Mr. Speaker. Treasurer's inability to manage the economic affairs should not be blamed on others. It should be squarely put on his own shoulders, Mr. Speaker. Today, Mr. Speaker, Mila Togolsem, you may inherit him economy law 2019, planned it Togolsem. Now, just as recently, planning minister Togolsem, it was in a bad shape when they inherited it. Let me explain, Mr. Speaker. There's like trubla totok. Since 2002, after the Macquarie reforms and Asian financial crisis in 1997, to 2011, there was a positive economic growth under Somare government. I must give credit to that. That was largely due to very pleasant, good commodity prices, particularly oil prices were very high. So Somare was able to run a surplus budget for quite a while, Mr. Speaker. And the economy grew between an average of 4 to 5% over those years. Now, 2011 came, now 2012, we ran a deficit budget, Mr. Speaker, deliberately because plenty money only packing no surplus for this time. Kind program, come up good, na plenty money got missing law between 2000 and 2011. So time you become lo government, time you no got money lo trust accounts, no got the money finish. So we had to run a deficit budget. And many of the senior ministers who are sitting on the other side of government know very well. But, deliberately only brought him this last side now. Blame me go yet. We all took a decision to run that, Mr. Speaker, and we ran a deficit budget for the first year, but on a sliding scale. 2018, budget book 2, and reflecting table 1. In 2018, the budget deficit was 2.6%. Now, I'm pleased to see that the government is now reducing its budget deficit. That I must give credit to the government. That's a right approach. But we were supposed to have a balanced budget in 2019 and beyond. Unfortunately, the government came in and they lifted the budget deficit up back to quite a large number. I think it was over 6%. So, Mr. Speaker, in 2018, because of the collapse in particularly oil prices, our economy struggled. And the economy declined by 0.03% in 2018 alone. But from 2002 to 2017, there was a continuous positive growth in the economy. Those data are available at the Central Bank and the Treasury Office, Mr. Speaker. So it is time that the Treasurer stops this blame game and takes some responsibility of how he is managing the economy, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, in 2011, when we took over the government, the economy, the GDP was 40 billion kina. As recorded in Table 1, Mr. Speaker, in 2018 and 2019, when we left, it was 80 billion kina GDP, Mr. Speaker. Now we are heading to almost 122 billion kina in 2025. Now that's a substantial growth over all those years, Mr. Speaker. And it's not an economy that was struggling. Today, this government is enjoying high commodity prices, gold, copper, oil, LNG. As a result of that windfall, you are enjoying big budgets. Big budgets, but you are mismanaging that, Mr. Speaker. Unlike the times of Somalia government when they were enjoying good oil prices, the surplus that was saved, they did not borrow any money, Mr. Speaker. Because there was no need, because the economy was growing, the economy was making money. Today we are making money, but we are still borrowing, Mr. Speaker. We are still borrowing. Why is that, Mr. Speaker? We are borrowing because we are spending too much. As much as what we are making, we are spending. And as a result, we need to go and borrow money from IMF and work with people who are suffocating our economy, Mr. Speaker. They're suffocating our economy. So this 13-year budget repair that the Treasurer continues to talk about, what is he repairing? The economic fundamentals are very sound. It is the abuse and the mismanagement of the expenditure that's causing us these problems, Mr. Speaker. And that's why we are forced to go and borrow money and pay very, very high interest costs, 3.5 billion kina next year. That's more than what is Mr. Speaker, more than what is we are investing in the social key sectors, health, education, and law and order, Mr. Speaker. I think, if the Prime Minister wants to make a reply during this reply, he can, but Mr. Speaker, I'm not going to have an argument with the Prime Minister when I've got a right to make a statement. Mr. Speaker, the only commercial borrowing we did was a 600 million kina bond. 600 billion is compared that to 37 billion kina that you have borrowed, 600 million. Stop arguing on something that you have incompetent memory about. So, Mr. Speaker, the budget talks about 4 pillars. 4 pillars, Mr. Speaker. The 4 pillars that the budget talks about is trying to take back PNG, and Prime Minister's own words, leave no child behind, Mr. Speaker. Those are the 4 pillars that the budget has been framed around. The first one it talks about is a strong economy. And the strong economic policy of the government is basically to say reducing inflation, improving living conditions, strengthening investor confidence, and making sure that the private sector continues to grow. That is the aim of that strong economic policy that the government is saying. That's one of the pillars. Now, let me say that inflation is still high, persistently high. Next year, they are predicting it will be 4.5%. That will affect everything. Many governments around the world are struggling to manage inflation. And that's a challenge that is there for the government, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this government has got no plan to addressing inflation. They have forgotten to restore. They've politicized the central bank, which is tasked to manage inflation in many central banks and economies around the world. But today you have a treasurer, his advisor sitting on the board of the central bank, whilst at the same time advising treasury. These two institutions are supposed to be independent of each other. And you have political cronies on the board. Some of them have got zero knowledge about the economy and the mechanics of running the economy. So, Mr. Speaker, we need to stop that. Mr. Speaker, talking about living conditions, they are far worse today than 5 years ago. Mr. Speaker, all you need to see is the rise of settlements all around the urban and cities throughout the country. Rise of settlements and urban youth and urban population, that's a clear indication that people are struggling to survive out there, Mr. Speaker. And when you talk about building a strong economy based on investor confidence, I can tell you investor confidence is zero. Low investor confidence. That's why you have had no foreign direct investment in the country. Mr. Speaker, no foreign direct investment, zero. It's nothing to be proud of, Mr. Prime Minister, nothing to be proud of. Mr. Speaker, if the Prime Minister continues to interject and carry on because we are talking about his failings, he should take advice and take heed of it. The cancellation of Papua LNG will never be developed the way you're carrying on. The agreement was signed and delivered. We should be in production today. Because of your incompetence, we have now not done anything. Incompetence. The Pogara deal, operating in your dreams, Mr. Speaker. Tell the Prime Minister, in your dreams. You see the problems up there. You should take full responsibility of that. The shutdown of the Pogara mine, an operating mine, who in his right mind such a mine that is so crucial to the survival of the economy of the country, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the private sector is not reinvesting. They are making money, but they are not reinvesting in it because they have no confidence in government's ability to honor their words and stability of the policy framework that they are developing. Because government will change in policy will come yet at win. So, Mr. Speaker, we have a situation where living conditions are down. People are not being paid fair for fair work. The minimum wages board has not set and deliberated since 2016, Mr. Speaker. Online blooming some $350 per hour yet. And you and I have the audacity to sit here and say that all is well, Mr. Speaker. I think, we need to take stock and why is it so difficult to have a minimum wages board convene, meet and make a decision? Mr. Speaker, there's a meeting below you, Governor, and we will go yet. So, Mr. Speaker, side blows from the economy, it is not delivering to the policy frameworks that they are stating they should. Mr. Speaker, the other thing that private sector is concerned about a level playing field. Some tax concessions that have been ended out like some loli blol piginini. Some of these people are not investing in new money into the country or bringing new foreign direct investment in the country. Only come na yumi wog lo give him drown lo free tasol na biyan only use him desla lo come na borrowing money na working business lo country blo yumi. Emo desla kain man, we are giving them tax holidays for 30 or 40 years. Under the so-called economic SEZ and everything that we are talking about giving to people to promote business. Why are we giving tax holidays to casino and gambling houses? What kind of a joke are we going to become? And because friendly you come up with some this kind of businessman, now you work to feed him all. This needs to stop. Future income revenue stream for the nation is being given tax holidays, and these people are not going to pay tax for a long, long time, Mr. Speaker. Normally, tax holidays are given to sectors and rural community-based businesses. so we can encourage people to do business in the rural communities, employ our people in the rural communities, Mr. Speaker. Number 2, pillar below this budget, M Connect PNG program. I don't have to say any more about this program. It's a connect. The only people who are benefiting are people who are known to government. That's the total blow email connecting rural communities na karamol produce boligam out here gaman tok. The budget is now proposing to spend almost 2 billion kina on this project. And the Prime Minister himself said that he will do an investigation and he will put a report here. Where is the report? It's been many months. It's just another lie. If we are going to run a deficit budget, we are running a deficit budget to fund Connect PNG programs. Over 2 billion kina, Mr. Speaker. Over 2 billion kina. There's a strategy blow, connecting all road blow rural communities. Each one of us in the districts and the provinces know those roads. They are the government agencies' right to spend that kind of money. Send it to them. Let them build the roads. Why do we have to give it to some kai man, outwork man, miyet man layela pod Mosby, because he's your political crony? Sambla line in a sawala road to al walk makim road next in money nothing. This is thieving, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, you must stop him this lakan passing, huh? Mr. Speaker, number 3 totoklo working this budget going rural. Now tokos 85% of our communities live in the rural area, so we plan up putting this budget directly me go upside. Nobody has got the data that 85% of our population live in the rural. This same figure was used during just after independence, you know. But you may use him figure nothing lo tram lo diverting money go come. So, Mr. Speaker, plenty line here will work to migrate for better opportunities. All like him educating Pikini Niblo, all like him good work, only finding money, only finding working business, only go to town now, cities, lo country. Plan these cities, organize the settlements properly, making sure that they've got water, sanitation, and power, Mr. Speaker. This is where the money should be going. And, Mr. Speaker, finally, on good governance. Number 4, pillar below this basal of good governance. My goodness, good governance. The Treasurer himself is late on the media economic fiscal outcomes. 5 months late. The final budget outcomes are even worse. Presented almost when the year is almost over, the following year is almost over. And Mr. Speaker, most of all and most concerning, it's the first time in the history of our country the Treasurer himself is sitting in this office signing warrants. That is not his job. He's a legislator. He's a policy maker. Secretary for Treasury is paid to do that job. What am kind law in behind him? Time Parliament approving budget and approving Treasury Secretary lo walk him this la walk. The only reason why they are doing warranting from his office is because of selective warranting. Now give him all favorite contractor, he go come. Mibla Sawal or this law will still passing work will come up. Stop hiding behind this nonsense. That's not good governance, Mr. Speaker. You work law, put up him noise law budget papers. Mr. Speaker, we need to empower Auditor General's Office, ICAC, all this Ombudsman Commission properly so they do their job. All you to account. You're answerable to the people of this country. And when we in opposition are telling you, we are trying to tell you to improve what you're doing. People I know got one personal issue one time, Mr. Speaker. We are trying to help you. We're trying to give you strength to make the right decisions for the country. Now can car and paper run, like coins side round. We all know what you're up to, Mr. Speaker. We all know what you're up to. We know what you're up to, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, There's at least some of the time behind him warranty go, Mr. Speaker. And Prime Minister, you are the worst one. To buy him this contractor, buy him this man. This is what the department secretaries are telling us. Why can't you allow them to do their job? You know what you know current invoice run around? Your job is to lead the country, make legislation, make laws. Treasurer and you are behind him warrant run local department, Mr. Speaker. And that is not good governance. If you are preaching good governance, behave in a manner that is going to uphold that principles, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, lo pasim to talk also, me got 1 minute. Economy, you talk, I'm go right, I'm good plan. You plan maslo where the economy is tracking. But please, stop borrowing. You've like enough revenue now, lo, funding budget through the taxation collections you are getting. Stop the borrowing. Cut the interest cost down. Get rid of this connect PNG nonsense and give him money to all districts and provinces, Mr. Speaker. Start targeting youth employment that is much needed in this country, Mr. Speaker. I'm a school dropouts will go out here. And you may walk at us out in a good laws and you may walk call him Nambaiko come. But majority of our population, I think more than 50% are under 25 years of age. Let's target this. This budget does not provide for them. Let's target this and try and help these young people have a future in their own country. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.